Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unanswered Questions. Sometimes during our live broadcast to schools, we just don't get enough time to answer all the questions.
Which is more often than not.
Yeah. So we're going to answer some of the top upvoted questions from, what was last month?
It was April.
April.
Yeah.
Questions from April.
April.
Let's get right into it, shall we? First question. Is podcasting a job?
Go for it.
Well, it can be. You can make it that way. A lot of people make that as their primary job. Although
it's tough though, right?
Yeah, the market is very saturated. So to make an actual living wage running a podcast, doable, but difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we know people. Your partner is a podcaster, right? And it's tough, right? And how long has she been doing it?
3 years.
And I mean, it's tough, and it really is, right? So, like you say, the market's saturated right now, so you have to kind of stand out. And unfortunately, some of the people who stand out on podcasts, not necessarily good content.
True.
Right? So,
what VPN do we use?
we presently use PIA, Private Internet Access. However,
or Nord as well.
Yeah, you're
Although
looking at
those are
another
two that we have used.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
The secret is stay away from the freebies, because freebies, number one, collect your information, sell it. Number two, they have a habit of slowing down your internet connection, right? So that's why going with a premium type of VPN, virtual privacy network, is the way to go. So we use PIA, Private Internet Access,
and Nord.
Yeah, Nord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we get paid from doing programs and broadcasting to schools?
Yeah, the schools contract us out, right? So we charge a fee. They pay the fee to do that. We are not sponsored, however, by any kind of social media platform or product or anything like that. Right?
Or government.
Or government, yeah. Yeah.
No one's agenda, but our own knowledge.
Yeah.
How do you communicate with the person who has asked you for help?
Yeah, primarily a lot of teens will reach out to us online, primarily on our platforms like Instagram or email. They can contact us on email. We've even had phone calls, so we have the 1-800 line, which is a toll-free line. So those are the three primary ways that teens will reach out to us for help, and then we engage with them.
Yep. What is the worst thing a hacker could do? Well, the worst thing they could get into is probably your email. I mean, almost everything we do online is attached to our email. Even if you want to change your bank password, you're going to need to be sent an email to do that. So your email, in my opinion, needs to be the most secure account ever.
I think other bad things could is, if they install cryptoware on your device, right, where all of a sudden you lose everything unless you pay them a wage and that kind of stuff too,
I still think an email hack is worse.
Oh, really?
Because even if cryptoware is on your computer encrypting your software, most of what we do is in the cloud already. Okay. And they're not going to be able to encrypt Facebook servers or your Gmail servers. Yeah. Okay, if Gmail gets hacked and they go down with cryptoware, then that's a problem. But, for you as an individual, I would say probably email.
There you go.
Email breaches and hacks. Worst thing that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do if you are being harassed by an adult on the internet?
Let another trusted adult know, be it a parent, be it a guardian, be it law enforcement, reaching out to us for help. But you got to let somebody else know. And, the sad thing is that when it comes to issues such as online predation, sexual exploitation, a good example, often the person who's committing these crimes is somebody who the youth either know, loves, or trusts. So therefore, and likely an adult, therefore, one of the best things you can do is reach out to somebody else who you can trust. Again, another parent, another caregiver, teacher, counselor, reaching out to the police or reaching out to us for help. Yeah.
Yeah. When did your group form? Well, I mean, as a company, 1993?
Yeah, we've been around for 30 years, right? But the White Hatter, we've been around now for 12, 13 years.
Yeah, and around the 2010s is when we really kind of branded as the White Hatter. But as a group, we've been around for a while.
Yeah.
What are the most dangerous types of hacks?
That's up your wheelhouse.
Again, I think someone breaking into your email is probably the worst case. Cryptoware is pretty nasty when that happens. Hacks that lead to extortion or blackmail are pretty nasty. Those are some of the
screen loggers, right?
Yeah.
Another thing where maybe they're putting some kind of spyware into your system to watch what it is you're doing.
Or keystroke loggers, where they look at your passwords and they steal those and log into your other things.
And that's why having proper hardware and software protection on your computer can go a long way in helping to protect yourself to make it safer, right?
How many hackers are out there in the world?
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
lots.
It's hard to quantify. I mean, how many get caught? I mean, I'm sure there's crime stats on that, but I mean, there's so many little tiny cyber crimes that happen that police will never investigate.
Lots.
So hard to say the exact number.
Yeah, lots.
Are there other reasons other than money that people get hacked?
Yeah, some people just do it out of the joy of causing panic and fear in other people, right? Like, it's not always about the money. A lot of times it is, but sometimes it's just the Machiavellian nature that these guys have to cause frustration in their intended victim.
Yep. How can you tell if you have been hacked?
Pretty hard to know until it's too late. Right, like
I mean, if you notice, maybe someone's in your account and messages are read you didn't read, or you didn't send. Maybe you're getting pop-ups. Perhaps your fans on your computers are running faster because there's something running in the background you don't notice. Those are really the only good telltale signs that will tell you that there's a problem.
Yeah, I remember once upon a time, every time I signed into my computer, my clock was always 15 minutes ahead. Like all of a sudden, right? That was many years ago. That's when you were younger. I mean, we got nuked by somebody who used our system to get into the University of Victoria, and then once they backed out, they nuked our computer to help hide their digital footprint, right? So, I love this next question.
Are you always at the studio?
He is.
Oh yeah, I do basically kind of live out here. It feels like. I mean, what? I mean, sometimes 12 hours a day. This is where I spend my time.
You're like a troll in its cave, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Whenever there's a broadcast, I'm usually here, but also on my free time, because there's some pretty cool tech in here and some pretty good graphics cards that we need to run the studio broadcast video. It can also play games. So even my free time, I'm sometimes out here because, hey, I'm going to use the good hardware to play games.
Yeah. What does the sign? I got you a sign that I put on your door, like, this is your home base, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. How can you block a scammer? Well, most messaging platforms have a block button. Someone's saying something to you don't like, they're trying to trick you, block it, remove it, delete it.
And then when it comes to malware, having proper software on your system to help be the gatekeeper to prevent them from getting in that way as well, right? So,
are there people who can hack you without your password? Yeah, if someone tricks you into downloading a software program that you get into your computer. It's actually really difficult for some hacker to like randomly hack you. They're usually going to need to trick you somehow to download a program that you don't want to download. Mm-hmm. That's really the most effective way those work today. Either password hacks or you download something. Yeah. So yes, it is possible. What was your name before the White Hatter?
Personal Protection Systems, PPS. Our company's still PPS, doing DBA, doing business as the White Hatter.
Yeah, the White Hatter is technically our brand.
Yeah.
Much like like the Coca-Cola company, they have many brands that they own.
Right.
Right? They own Powerade, right?
I think so. I don't know.
But still, that's the brand, but the company's still Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we kind of do the same thing. Do you only help people in Canada, or do you educate in other countries?
Yeah, we are international. I mean, you've done presentation. Well, we've done presentations in the United States. You did a presentation to, was it Singapore? Thailand. Yeah. To an English-speaking school in Thailand. So yeah, we're international in our reach.
Have you ever been hacked before? Well, you actually gave an example.
Yeah, I gave an example many, many years ago before we even started doing internet safety stuff, where our computer was used to backdoor into UVic, we think probably to change grades. And then when the hacker got out, they nuked our system to kind of obfuscate their digital footprint, right?
Mm-hmm. Have you traveled as the White Hatter?
Sure have. We traveled across Canada and throughout the United States for sure. Haven't been over to Europe yet. Would love to travel. Right? But no, yeah, we do travel.
Yeah. Although, we are really enjoying the broadcasting we do. I mean, we do a lot more work across the country while not traveling, because with our studio, we're reaching more students, more schools.
It's also way more cost effective to organizations, right? Because when you travel, you got to pay for flights, hotels, rentals. There's all kinds of costs associated where, and we still do it. Don't get us wrong. Like, we still travel to do presentations if organizations, schools want to pay us for it.
But we do ask them
Yeah,
Do you
like,
really want to
wanna-
do that? Because here on the studio, we got effects, sound effects, there's replayability, you got all these 4K cameras. I mean, like, come on, it's...
But we still do in-person presentations for sure.
But do you really want to do that? Broadcasting so
Some
much.
do.
They do, but I think broadcasting's way more fun.
I do. Yeah.
Can you get viruses on iPads and iPhones?
Yeah. There's a big misunderstanding out there that people, and I think it gets back to the old commercials many years ago. Remember, it was Mac versus PC. Remember those commercials where, you know, the Apple, they're advertising, don't have to worry because you don't have to worry of viruses. Well, the Apple platform, the iOS platform, it's under heavy attack, right? So,
I will say there are probably less exploits on Apple devices
sure.
than, say, Android and Windows.
For sure.
And yes, I'll be honest, the actual publicly released viruses and hacks on Apple iPads and iPhones, very small. Very small. See, Android gives you a lot more customized control as a user on how to control your phone. You can do anything you want.
They're called an open platform, right?
Yeah, you can do anything you want on your Android. Apple does not let you do what you want on their phones.
They call it sandboxed.
Yeah, they control everything. So, yes, it's been annoying, but there is some security benefits there.
They're the overlords.
That too. Yeah. However, when there's a problem with the iPhone, every iPhone around the world has the same problem.
I just finished doing a presentation with a high school where yesterday it became known that with their update of their new iOS 17, one of the bad things that happened were some of the pictures that people had deleted off of their phones, their Apple devices, started to reappear back into their photo albums, right? So some of those pictures that you don't want to be there are there, right?
Do you remember when those, it happened a couple times where there's like a certain sequence of like text and emojis you can message someone on an Apple phone and it will shut down their phone.
Yeah.
People call it the Apple apocalypse, where people would just randomly send you a text message and boom, shuts down your phone because there was a bug in the code.
That was a couple of years ago.
It's like, well, yeah, see, that's the issue with the Apple phone.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same problem.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, the problems are...
Having said that, I'm an Apple fanboy.
We do primarily have Apple in the studio.
Although we use PC work for a lot of the work, like the streaming we're doing right now. Right?
Indeed.
So...
Now, who pays for the workshops that we do?
Schools will pay, who are paying. PACs, the parent advisory councils, will pay, and organizations pay. We take no money from any social media platform. We take no money from any government entity whatsoever, unless the government entity is hiring us to come in and train their employees, which some government agencies do. But it's usually the person who's contracting us that pays.
Yeah, it's not like we are trying to craft our programs to get certain grants. So we leave things out or we add things to like fit those grants.
Yeah.
No, it's just, here's our knowledge and here it is.
Yeah. We're not tied to a specific narrative because we're afraid that it's going to dry up our financial income, which is challenging for a small company like ours, right? Because it is challenging. Doing what we do and how we do it, especially using the technology we're using, is not cheap, right? And I think we do it better than anybody else, virtually, for sure. But sometimes it is a struggle. It would be easier maybe to get sponsored by, the big name social media vendors that are out there. But we've kind of stayed away from that, kind of to bypass the conflict of interest issues, right? So.
Do you have a system for who is in the studio at what time? Oh, yeah, we have a calendar. I think we live our lives by the calendar. So, yeah, we know who is where and what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And nobody can get into the studio. I mean, once we're broadcasting, we lock the doors. Nobody can get in here, right? So.
How is it legal for companies to have full control over what it is that we post?
It's legal because you tick the box that says, I agree to the above. It's in the terms of service, right? Like none of us ever read it, right? Like it's like 50 pages of microprint in which you need a magnifying glass and law degree to understand it. But as soon as you hit that accept button, you've contractually agreed to allow the company to do that, right? So
yeah, and if you're using an app or program on a website, you're technically using someone else's computer. It's like you have a computer, you let your friend use a computer, but you say, hey, friend, you're going to use my computer. Unfortunately, you can't do bad things on my computer. Right? I don't want to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
So much like how you can control what people do on your devices, you're connecting to a social network. It's their computer, their rules. Don't like it, go make your own.
Yeah.
But most people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Will I get in trouble for using illegal websites to watch movies for free?
So the answer is maybe, but not likely. I mean, is it breach of copyright to watch a movie that's on a pirated site, a BitTorrent, that is still in the theaters, but you're watching it for free? Yeah, it is. It's illegal under copyright law here in this country. Now, are they going to come after you? Probably not. You can never say never. Who they really go after are people who are sharing the movie with others when they shouldn't be. That's who they're really going after. But technically, legally, you're breaching copyright.
Yeah, it's not as if every single law is enforced all the time
No.
to the letter of the law. I mean, I think of like, crosswalks when there's a flashing red sign. The amount of people who walk on a flashing red hand sign, technically, isn't that a violation of the Motor Vehicle Act?
It is here in British, in most provinces.
That's like what, $150 fine?
Something like that.
Yeah, but yet, how many people get fined for doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Very little. So
unless there's a special project going on, right?
There have been some of those I've seen in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Although they didn't. It was an awareness campaign.
Right.
I think I saw the Vancouver police do. But yeah, it's there's a lot of things you're not allowed to do, but yet people do it all the time.
Exactly.
But you can still get in trouble, technically speaking.
Yeah. One of the things they say about the law is that it's never black and white. There's all shades of gray. And the enforcement of it is the same way sometimes, right?
Yeah. Especially when it involves behavior. That's just like, oof, it's very messy. How do you convince your parent to get a VPN, even though you tell them all the benefits?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes parents are the parents and they make the final decision, but it's all about educating them. And, one of the things I say is that if the parents don't believe you, have them connect with me. I say this to parents all the time. We need to be a little reflective as parents. I mean, when I was younger, if I heard my parents say something to me, did I ever believe it? No. But if I heard it from somebody else, it had to be true, even though it's the same message, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you're struggling with your parents over the VPN issue, well, then have your parents connect with us directly and we'll explain the positives and the negatives of VPNs, right?
Yeah.
Virtual privacy networks.
Do employers and universities / scholarship opportunities providers look down on those people who have no online presence?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We actually talk about that in our leveraging program. And there was a report out there saying that companies who are doing a background check on an individual online, if they don't find any kind of a social media presence, it kind of raises a red flag to them. Because in today's world where everybody's been online, for the past 10 to 15 years, usually there's some kind of an online presence there. And if they don't have one, to them, it kind of causes two red flags. Number one, is the person lying to us? Or number two, they're trying to hide something, right?
Yeah, even for those people where that's not a big issue for them, like they don't care if you have a presence or not.
Yeah.
But if you do have a very positive presence, that may just actually give you benefits.
Yeah, for sure.
While having no presence might just make you, just normal, average, decent. Showing the good things they're doing can just increase your opportunities.
There's no doubt that using social media in a positive way, you can leverage it to give you an advantage when it comes to scholarship opportunities and job opportunities. We've seen it. We teach it. We've had clients of ours, students of ours, adults of ours benefit from doing that.
Yeah. Can you see my incognito history?
We can't see it. However, law enforcement could, because when you're using incognito or private viewing mode, it just prevents the history on your device from recording where you're going. However, your internet service provider, Shaw, or Rogers, TELUS, Bell, whoever you're using, is collecting all that information, and therefore that information is accessible to law enforcement by way of warrant.
Yeah. Now, if you were on our network doing things, then even if you're using incognito, we could see that, right? It only prevents the browser from, seeing what you're doing. But, if you're using our devices and we have monitoring on there, then we're monitoring the outgoing, incoming connections.
What about schools where the kids are using school networks, but yet they're using incognito mode on their device? The school network will still be able to see, right? Because they're using the network.
Precisely. I mean, in order to do that, you have to hide your traffic where you're going from entering and leaving that device.
Exactly.
Again, incognito's only the browser you are using won't have a record of what you're doing. That's it. Everything else can still see what you're doing.
Yeah.
People get in trouble because they think otherwise.
Yeah.
Since a lot of music platforms are free, unless you buy premium, is that considered pirating?
I'll let you answer that.
No, actually, like Spotify free. See, when artists put their music on those platforms, they go into an agreement. They get paid whatever minute cent of a cent per play.
Minute cent of a cent.
What's less than a cent? I don't know.
Minute.
It's like 0.0001 or something of a dollar that you get paid for every listen of a stream of music. I don't know. It's very small.
Yeah.
But they make that money because if you're using Spotify free, you get ads.
That's right.
So
Ad revenue.
That ad revenue pays for the music for you to listen to. So no, it's not. If you're using a proper paid for legitimate website, even though things are free, that's still okay because typically it's supported by ads. Usually. What if you don't have any money for online protection?
Go for it.
Yeah,
There's some free stuff out there.
there is free stuff.
Microsoft makes some free stuff, right?
They do make some free stuff. And yeah, you might not be able to pay for virus protection or a VPN unless you invest and you are very limited into what you're doing. Yeah, people who pay for virus protection and VPNs have a lot more freedom and flexibility
and privacy
to explore the internet in a more private way.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed, that is definitely an inequality. But it's the choices you make and what you do online.
Yeah. But there is some free stuff you can look at. But just remember, if it's free for a reason, because they got to make their money somehow, and they're collecting their money by what it is you're doing. So.
Can social media benefit you into getting scholarships?
Absolutely, it can. I mean, it's amazing how many students we've worked with where they're using their social media in a positive way, that they leverage it to have them stand out. And as a result of that, scholarships are offered, right? So, but the bigger thing is that especially when it comes to grants and scholarships, schools will look at your social media to help them make a decision. Are you the type of person who deserves this scholarship or grant just based upon what it is you've done online?
Yep. If you have an old account with videos and pictures still posted in live, but you don't know the password, how do you get rid of it or delete the account? That's hard.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is just make an application to the network that it's on. However, as we know, you might never hear a response, or it might take years down the road to actually get it dealt with. So if you forget your password, you can't recover it, you use a different email you don't never use anymore, unfortunately, that just might stay a ghost account, just there, live, active. So that's why managing your accounts, having control over your emails and your passwords are so important, because that can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Why is Fortnite an Olympic sport now?
Because like it or not, online gaming has become a sport. I mean, they actually say that online gaming is going to rival the NFL when it comes to money-making ventures. It's big, big business. So remember, it's not an official sport. It's a demonstration sport in this Summer Olympics coming up. But I suspect in the next Olympics or the Olympics after that, it'll be formalized, right? Where there'll be medaling events, right? So.
Quite possibly.
And a lot of people who train for this, you should see their training regimens. Like they train like professional athletes when it comes to weightlifting, running.
Some pro gamers are jacked.
Like, it's unbelievable, right? So a lot of people think that, these pro gamers turn into these couch potatoes. That one picture that we show in one of our presentation where it looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? That's just not true. Like they've proven that online athletes who play these games, that if they're physically fit, they perform much better online, right? So.
Oh, yep, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can I protect my info?
Well, I don't think you can protect everything 100% of the time, but there's ways you can go about doing that, like using maybe browsers that don't collect your information, like the Brave browser or the Ghost Tree browser, using a VPN, using the proper security and privacy settings that are in place, right? There's a variety of different things. It's kind of like a Lego approach where, you can build this wall so high, but ultimately there could still be people could still step over the wall. I think the whole goal here is to make it harder for them to get your stuff and easier to get somebody else's, right? Don't concentrate on me, go after somebody else.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, the safest thing is to never use the internet, but that's unrealistic. I mean, the safest thing to avoid a car accident is not to drive a car, or even better, don't walk on the street, don't walk on the sidewalk, because who knows? Like the safest thing in the world is to be in a padded room, you speak to nobody and do nothing, right? I mean, there's always risk in something that we do.
Right. It's about managing that risk.
Exactly. Is it wise to put all your passwords on a private Apple Note page?
Go for it.
No, we don't recommend that. Even if it's a private page, if it's not a dedicated password management solution, there are issues, there are problems with plain text passwords, and that's the first place anyone looks if they want to steal information from you.
And why use an Apple Notes page when they have the Apple
Keychain. That's free.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you're an Apple user, use the keychain.
That's like that. That's the way to go,
Yeah.
right? Don't use a notes page. Don't do it.
If you could choose the top 3 most dangerous apps for kids, what would they be?
We always say it's not the app, it's how people use the app that make it good or bad. However, I would say Kick, which unfortunately is a Canadian-owned company.
Yeah, I mean, sure, bad things could happen there.
It's just that Kick has more pedophiles on it than any other app out there, right? Some of the streaming apps you got to be careful of, but again, it's not the app, it's how people use the app, right?
I would say an app is worse if you can't block someone. Well, then you're probably going to receive messages you're not going to like. An app is worse if you can't privatize your account. Yeah, there are some apps out there where you can't have a private account, you can't block people, and yeah, on those apps, you're going to have more problems.
And I do say that, age gating, I think, is important. So a good example, like TikTok, we don't really recommend TikTok for somebody who's under the age of 15, right? Like, although you have to be 13 to join, we don't really think that it should be something it should be for those under the age of 15. Probably not. Kick, problematic, but it's not the app, it's how people use the app that can make it good or bad.
Can you make a server at home so it's a secure platform? Well, I mean, this is a question from a student. So while yes, you could do that, the thing is, from a security standpoint, I would far rather trust something like Google to manage all my information. Yeah, there's a privacy issue, but is that worse than making a security mistake where some bad hacker finds a flaw in your server? I'd rather have the Google experts who are paid a lot more money than I am to secure their system. It's a trade-off, right? Yes, Google won't be able to see your stuff, but there's a higher risk of hackers, and I think that's probably worse, in my opinion. How old should I be to get a phone?
Well, I'll answer that one. It shouldn't be age dependent, right? Like, it shouldn't be. A really good example, I know some 13-year-olds who have the maturity level of an 18-year-old. I know some 18-year-olds who have the maturity level of a 10-year-old. So it really shouldn't be about age per se. It should be more about maturity, digital literacy, those types of issues. I also think that it depends upon the type of phone, right? Like we break down phones into 2 types of phones. We call one a minimalist phone, like a basic flip phone, and the other ones are what we call the fusion phones. So those are like the Apple phones and the Android phones where you can do multiple things on it. I think for the basic type of minimalist phones, I think, elementary school students who have a flip phone going to or from school, so if something happens, not such a bad idea. But I really don't think that when it comes to these fusion phones or smartphones that it's really designed for that age group, right? So again, I don't think it's so much age appropriate. I think it's more about developmentally appropriate. So
how much time do you think teens should spend per day on technology?
Yeah, we got to get away from talking about screen time. It's not about how much time teens are spending online, it's what they're doing with that time is most important, right? Like if they're spending the everyday, single day kind of playing online gaming and just bubble gumming, not good for you, right? But if they're using it to create and produce, those are the positive things. But, one of the things that we've always said is, look at your day, maybe split it into 3, right? Where, a third of the day you're doing some online stuff, another third you're outside playing, enjoying yourself, the other third you're spending with family and friends, right? Like, so again, it shouldn't be about how much time, it's what they're doing with that time online that's really important.
Yeah, the best criticism I give whenever there's like you need to spend these many hours, no more than that. The thing I give is, what about if there's a school project, right? There's homework, and that school project involves an online research, and it's an end of term paper.
Producing, creating, right?
And you have to spend a lot of time on the internet to do that. But your time limit's used up. Sorry, teacher, I can't finish my paper because I wasn't allowed more time on the internet. Is a parent going to let that happen? Probably not.
No.
So it's the content that's far more. Sure, you can be so productive you're causing issues in your everyday life, then you rein it back a bit. Yeah. Is drawing yourself on a profile picture an okay thing to do?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I recommend don't use your actual full face, especially if you're, a younger teen or a younger kid.
Yeah.
But a drawing would probably be somewhat better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, I guess the best scenario would be still have a clip art or like a picture of your pet would probably be the best option. But as a drawing, probably fine. What is the age limit to play Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite?
I think most of them by laws, you have to be at least 13 years of age.
Yep.
But there's no top end. Like if you're 120, you can be on there, right? So, right?
Why?
So,
Why did you say that?
I don't know. Just 120 came to my mind, right? I'm getting old.
Okay. Sure. Is it possible to be hacked by a VPN?
Is it possible to get hacked by a VPN?
If you download a malicious one made by a hacker pretending to be legitimate, yeah,
and
sure.
that's happened.
Yep.
Right. The on the app stores. This is especially on the free ones, right? Like a lot of these free apps that go into these app stores, some of them may be scams, right? The whole idea is you download this onto your phone or onto your system, and now they have access, right? Another reason why stay away from free VPNs.
Are pop-ups always a scam?
No.
No.
Not
There's some legitimate marketing strategies that use pop-ups. Yeah, I think, are they all annoying? Probably.
Yeah.
Unless it's a security pop-up from your phone going, hey, there's an issue you got to fix, like a real security issue. Okay, that's okay. But most of them are still annoying.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're always a scam.
Right.
If a gaming app is asking for your name, age, and other information, I assume, should you put that in there to be able to play the game? Well, yes. So you don't want to share any information that will be publicly seeable by others. But, a lot of online accounts, you do have to enter your age or your birth date so that they know where to put you and how to secure your account.
I do say this is one occasion where it's okay maybe not to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Right?
But the issue is that if you're questioned, some security, if you forget your password, some accounts will ask you, what was your birth date?
That's right. That's why you got to make sure that you record that somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Right.
There have been messages we've received where a student goes, I'm trying to log in, but I forgot the birth date I entered.
Right.
Sorry, your account's gone.
Yeah, so you got to make sure that you record that somewhere.
Technically, it is against their rules.
It is, but
Are they going to find out? Probably not. But if they do, you could technically get banned.
Yeah.
So those are all risks you're going to have to sort of evaluate. Yeah, it's but again, most kids do lie. When it's an 18+ app, they do enter a fake age regardless.
They certainly do.
So, I mean, it does happen.
More often than not.
What if an adult makes an account and then a child plays it? Oh, yeah, sometimes parents will let their kids who are younger than 13 have social media, but it's the parent running and making the account. They're just a user on it.
Right. And that's one of the things that, that we say to parents is that sometimes, taking the Lego approach, once your child turns 13 or maybe they're under the age of 13, because a lot of these apps, you have to be 13. If the parent starts the account and then works with the child, integrates with the child, plays with the child, right? During that time, it's what we call scaffolding, right? It kind of helps the child and the parent learn this thing together so that when they're ready at the age of 13 to hop over and the parent allows it, well, now they're better good to go, right?
How many awards have you won?
9.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 or
Yeah,
9.
9.
Yeah.
International, national, provincial. Yeah. Even local. Yeah. 9.
Can people watch me through my phone camera? Anything's technically possible. Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
I mean,
more likely on a laptop camera or a desktop camera, right?
even then, I mean, the protocols built into modern computers are pretty good. In order for that to happen, you would have to have downloaded something, a
Right.
program for them to do that.
Remote access Trojan, right?
Just a random hack in to use their camera. Anything's possible. Technically, very unlikely. How should you approach being doxxed online? And what point should threats be addressed?
Well, number one, by minimizing the amount of personal information you're putting online, you'll help reduce being doxxed big time. But once you know you're being doxxed, immediately bringing it to the attention of somebody, probably law enforcement, the better, especially if now there's threats, right? If you don't do this, I'm going to do that. That's called uttering a threat, and that could be significant.
Yeah, doxing is quite a debated topic right now today because people assume that any information about you that someone puts on the internet is like, oh, you're breaking the law, you're doxing me. You know, if someone knows where you live, technically knowing that itself is not illegal. However, they say, I'm going to go do bad things to you because this is where I know where you live now. It's the threat of the violence that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone hacks into your account and then leaks things about you, well, it's
different.
It's the hack that's illegal. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people are pretty sensitive sometimes about their addresses being shared, but technically, it's your address.
Public.
It's public. I mean,
Public.
there's it's like your license plate.
Or in the old days, the boomer days, the phone book. Look up the person's name. I know they live in Victoria. Oh, there they are. Oh, there's the street address, and I got their phone number. Right. So it's the old days of the
even
phone
a
book.
thing? But okay. Yeah,
but
sure.
that's what it was like
I
20
know.
years ago, before the internet, right?
What if a group chat gets leaked, like from Instagram or Snapchat? Well, I would hope your group chat was all appropriate. If not,
And that's what we keep saying to people, is that no matter what the platform, no matter what your privacy settings, including on Instant Snapchat, you got to understand that even in these group chats, what you've posted can become public, permanent, searchable, exploitable, copyable, shareable, and for sale, especially if somebody's screen capturing it, right? And we've had example after example after example where that has happened. So you got to be careful. Nothing is ever private, right?
mm-hmm.
And sometimes a friend can actually be a frenemy, right? And you don't know that. So.
Yeah. Is it safe to give your location when a big app asks for it? Like if you were searching up a restaurant, like a restaurant searching up app, and they want to know your location.
Yeah.
Well, that's an assessment you're going to have to make yourself. Do I do that? No, I just type in, hey, restaurants in this postal code or whatever.
And that's something you can turn on and turn off on your phones, on most phones as well, right? Like if you're using Google Maps, is a good example, and you're visiting a new town and you're in the middle of downtown, you're going, hey, what's the nearest Italian restaurant near me? Well, you're going to have to turn that function on and we'll give it to you. But as soon as you do that, you can turn it off, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're using an app, I mean, maybe Snap apps, and you're actively broadcasting your location to not the app, but like other people, I think that's probably going to be a problem.
Right.
So you have to make that assessment yourself. Mm-hmm. Google, probably fine. I don't know, whatever food searching up apps exist out there, like Open Table or something. I mean, that's probably fine. I mean, yes, they're collecting it, using it, selling it, but you got to make that assessment. Mm-hmm. How do you judge when it's safe to give out your information to someone you meet in an online game?
Yeah, it's every situation is going to be a little different, but get to know the person, get to know them a lot before you start sharing really pertinent information. One of the warnings I always say is that if the other person you're gaming with very quickly in the relationship starts to ask you all kinds of personal information, that's just weird, and that is a major warning flag should be going up, right? Because people are asking for really personal information about you early in a relationship, including online gaming. It's not something that it's common, right? Like it's just a red flag. Like there's a person called Gavin DeBecker. He wrote The Gift of Fearing and Protecting the Gift. And he says that, and he's a personal safety consultant. One of the things he says is that when you meet somebody for the first time, they start asking a lot of personal questions, danger, 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 right? That should only happen later in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So.
And those are
a lot of questions about hackers this go around. Did you notice that?
A lot of questions. I think we did a lot more elementary and intermediate schools last month,
right?
Which definitely focuses more on that.
Yeah, okay.
I think more of the behavioral sexting and nudes topics are more like older high schools.
Yeah.
So I think those we get more of those questions, and we have more high schools in the month.
Yeah, there you go.
So, thank you for the questions, and we'll keep this going, and we will answer next month's top unanswered questions here again. Stay safe, have fun. We'll see you all then.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye for now.